What's up, everybody, and welcome to Narcocop MMA. This is the full card breakdown for UFC Winnipeg. I'm your host, Mike, along with a co-host today. It's going to be Uncle Weezy. I appreciate him for coming in. Last second, actually. Uncle Weezy is like, fucking the IRS was chasing him. He's fucking running to his house, closing the door behind him. And, yeah, he's like, they're knocking on my door, but fuck him. I'm not going to answer, so... He wants to do the show, and he's here.
Yeah, you know, he caught me at a really vulnerable time. He said, hey, you want to do a full card breakdown with me? And I was like, it was either that or fill out tax forms. And I was like, yes, please, let's just talk UFC Winnipeg, because these tax forms, I mean, like, I don't know how anybody does it. My brother's a CPA. I don't know how he does it, like deals with the IRS on a daily basis. No wonder they pay him so much money.
Yeah, those CPAs, man. It's, you look at all the fucking numbers on every, like, especially when people have like different things going on, different incomes, housing, this and that. And you look at it and I'm like, dude, how does this guy do like hundreds of these every year?
Yeah, it's not easy, man. It's not easy. And these dudes work 70-hour, 80-hour weeks. Like my brother used to work 90-hour weeks, like in March and April. I mean, it was crazy the amount of work he was churning out. Unbelievable.
I used to know a cop that was a CPA as well. And he was a full-time cop. But during tax season, he would take his furlough and vacations and whatever he had. So you could, dude, this guy used to work like 100 hours a week on taxes. Like barely any sleep. I'm like, why the fuck? I mean, it's a lot. It's very good money, but you torture yourself with that stuff, man.
It is not easy, dude.
Anyway, let me go over to chat. Shout out my chat really quick. We're going to keep this short. I want to keep this under an hour, Uncle Weezy. I say this every week and I go over. Let's see if we can do it. All right. Elijah, what's up, my man? Jihadi John. Viral Planet says Valentin Mafia stand up. Ryan G says I need some good props. That's for the prop show. We're going to give you our picks, who we think is good on the money line, but no props on this show. Carlos, what's up? I appreciate you. Double flushing. The money train never stops with Narco. I appreciate you. Uncle Weezy is in the house. We're ready to smack them books again this weekend. Absolutely. Dixon's in the house. Hi, Narco. If you and our beloved Uncle Weezy want some McDonald's, Alvin Gastelbaum has you covered. Oh, boy. That was a bad showing. Nicholas Rakic 2-3. Okay. Elder says, hi, I'm new here. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for joining. Smarwolf Filter says, last week was so depressing. It was a good week for me. I loved last week. Joseph Curry, Narco, are you going to question Weezy for any past crimes? I might. I've heard some things about this guy. I worked in the same area where he lives currently. So, yeah, maybe I give him a question. I put him on the hot seat today, and, he might have to fess up. I don't know. We'll see.
I know you've chased some dudes in your time, and one of them might have been me back in the day, man.
Yeah, it might have been Uncle Weezy on, over there on Milwaukee Avenue having a good time, and somebody called on a white guy fucking going nuts on Milwaukee Avenue after the bars closed. And yeah, it could have definitely been him. But if it was him, he's a pretty fast runner, because
when I was young, maybe.
I lost him. All right. Let's start off here, Uncle Weezy. First fight of the night. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 9-4 John Yannis versus the 14-3 Jamie Siraj. And currently it's minus 256 on Siraj, with the comeback on Yannis at plus 216. So I will let you kick us off here. What do you think about this first opener here?
Yeah, this one was kind of put together last minute. We just heard about this fight probably. I think both of these guys have maybe got 14 days max notice for this fight. Sarai is a newcomer. Yannis has one fight that he took on like 48 hours notice against Austin Bashi, and he got run through. And if you watch his tape, he's always struggled with grapplers. So it's really kind of brutal to call John Yannis on 48 hours notice and offer him Austin Bashi. I mean, you talk about a prick move, and the market knew it. They made him like a plus 650 underdog in that fight. So no one was expecting him to win. This is a striker versus grappler matchup, but what I like about Sarai, Narcocop, is this dude, he's going to sell out for the grappling. It doesn't matter whether he's on bottom or top. He'll shoot a shit takedown attempt and then pull guard. But then he will start looking for that sweep. So in a striker versus grappler matchup, I think we can count on Siraj to sell out and make this a grappling match. And if he does that in all 3 rounds, he's going to win this fight and potentially even find a finish. I wouldn't normally lay minus 250 on somebody that I don't think has very good wrestling, and is a pure grappler like Siraj is, and he's very hittable on the feet. But he's going to sell out for the grappling. He's not going to be satisfied with distance striking exchanges. So I think he's the side here, actually, even at this price.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you something funny about that UFC debut for Yannis? Not only did they tell him, hey, 48 hours, you got to come face a really, really good grappler, a young grappler, right?
Yeah.
But by the way, you're moving up a weight class to 45.
Yeah.
Like this guy.
Exactly. Yeah, up at 145 that fight was. He's a bantamweight.
Yannis is a career bantamweight. He's a 35er, and guess what?
Yeah.
He's getting grappled by 35ers all day long. Like,
yeah, dude.
Aguirre literally grappled him for 3 rounds until he gassed.
Yeah,
right?
and got him in the 4th round, but this is only a 3-round fight. Mo Miller, the same thing. How did Mo Miller lose that fight, by the way?
Mo Miller has like ultra world talent in the wrestling realm, but the guy is like a severe gasser, man. Like it's brutal. Oh, and yeah, I mean that fight, honestly, you mentioned it. I don't think Mo Miller lost the fight.
Yeah, I think
they
won
robbed
it, man.
him.
Yeah, he to give Yannis 2 rounds of that fight,
robbery.
If you go back and watch it,
robbery.
It's such a stretch, man. I think Mo Miller won that fight. So you could look at several occasions. Gabriel Wanderlei, Nick Aguirre, Austin Bashi, Mo Miller, all 4 of these guys absolutely just blanketed Yannis.
Yeah, and guess what? I think he's going to get blanketed again because the one thing that, here's the other thing. Jamie Siraj is a guy that's fought at 55 quite a bit.
Oh, wow.
55.
I didn't know that.
50. Yeah, he's had fights at 55, a catch weight of 50. And this fight supposedly is at bantamweight now, right? At 35. I will say that maybe this weight cut is going to be this is short notice for Siraj.
Yeah.
And he's fighting down at bantamweight, which is kind of weird because he hasn't fought at bantamweight for ages. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, I listened to the interview from Yannis, and he said, the guy that interviewing him, Mills, said, you're fighting at 45, short notice. He's like, no, I'm not. It's 135. I'm like, huh? How is Siraj going to make 35 in short notice? This guy's never made 35.
I didn't even know that, dude. I swear to God. But I guess I just assumed he was a 35er.
No, he's career 40. The last time this guy competed at 35, Uncle Weezy, was 2016, 10 years ago. So
all these fights are featherweight and 150. I did not even catch that, dude. Wow. Yeah. I'm glad you did, because I didn't.
So it's a weird sequence where I'm sure he's going to be much stronger than Yannis. That's the thing. And he's a grappler.
Yeah.
I honestly think he's going to sub him pretty early, man. He's got a very, very good jiu-jitsu game, like very, very dangerous when he hits the mat. And he's subbed some guys that normally don't get subbed, and he's getting them. So can he get hurt on the feet? Sure. Is he kind of a bot on the feet? Absolutely. Giannis is the better striker. But, man, this is a huge, huge difference in the grappling. And man, Yannis is kind of fucked, honestly. I think he's going to get subbed. They're feeding him to the wolves, basically, here. And I'm not saying Siraj is some great fighter. It's just a matchup, Yeah. It's a terrible matchup.
And the tape that I saw on Siraj, this guy, he refuses to stand and strike.
No,
he doesn't. He'll shoot a shit takedown, and he doesn't care if he winds up on top or the bottom. He just wants to grapple. So Yannis is going to have to grapple this guy.
And he to be fair to him, he's got some. The Nemat win. I don't know if anybody knows this Nemat Adrashitov guy. He's a really, really good fighter, man. And he's huge. Man. And he's fucking huge for featherweight, that dude.
Yeah, and he grappled his ass off for 5 rounds in that fight, and he never got tired. So I thought that was something that I'm like, this guy's not going to get tired, and he's not going to fuck off. He's not
until he got him. He would not stop until he got him. So, all right, let's move on here. Fight number 2. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 12-4-1 Mark Vologdin versus the 21-8 John Castaneda, and currently Castaneda is a -125 favorite with the comeback on the newcomer at +105. I mean, listen, is Vologdin explosive? Sure. Did he give us one of the best Dana White's Contender Series fights? Sure. But he gave us one of the best fights because he was a fucking absolute punching bag on the feet. I mean, he absorbed an incredible amount of strikes in that fight. The other thing is, like, I would give him a little bit more props or leeway, but man, the guy he fought, Andretti, is not fucking good. And that guy's not a striker, by the way. He's a complete grappler. For him to be hurting Mark and landing all these shots on Mark, it's just a very bad look for Mark, right? On top of it, Mark can be grappled. That's the other aspect of this guy. Is like, who I think is more explosive and has more power here, it's probably Mark, right? He's younger. He's more explosive. Fine. But the guy is tiny for the division. I mean, he's 5'3", for Christ's sake, with a 65-inch reach. He does everything with explosion. He slows down later in fights, you know. And if you look at the Andretti fight, if Andretti had any type of power, Uncle Weezy, he should be knocking this dude. I don't care how tough this guy is. Andretti has no power. And if that was like a guy like John Castaneda, probably he would have knocked him out, dude. Because he's sitting down on punches. He's throwing around harder. He's a better striker, you know? So, you know, we saw Castaneda hurt Santos, who is impossible to get out of there, right?
I can't believe he didn't. Like, if that's anybody but Santos, that's a finish. I cannot believe Santos survived that. That was
impossible to get out of there. Literally impossible. And the level of competition, I mean, the experience, the UFC experience, the better fighter everywhere, outside of just pure will to win and, you know, explosiveness, everything favors Castaneda here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this line's short. Plain and simple. I think this Vologdin guy is probably not going to last in the UFC. He's just not skilled to me. You know, you can't win fights just based off explosion and athleticism, because the other thing is he tires out. You know, so yeah, I mean, I like Castaneda here quite. I think this is a big step down for him, man. Like, really big from the guys he's been fighting.
I mean, the last 5 names: Daniel Santos, Muin Gafarov, Kyung Ho Kang, Daniel Marcos, Chris Gutierrez. You know, every single one of these guys would be a big favorite over Vologdin. And the thing about Vologdin is you can go watch his film and you'd be like, damn, man, like, this guy is explosive for 5'3". He manages range really well for 5'3". Like, he's constantly facing guys that are much taller and much longer than him, but he's doing the better job of managing the range. He's got that traditional martial arts background, like a karate, taekwondo type of style. But when you have that kind of explosiveness, it comes at a cost. It just is not, it's something that just doesn't stay with you into rounds 2 and 3, because your energy output is finite over a certain period of time. So Vologdin's not going to be able to keep that kind of explosiveness and that power in the second half of fights. And that's when being 5'3" with a 65-inch reach and very limited grappling upside is really going to come back to haunt you. You know, I've got a mathematical formula that computes a strength of schedule score, you know, and since I keep, entire divisional databases here, I have everybody in the division that's fought ranked, you know, in terms of strength of schedule. Well, this is the bantamweight division, which is one of the most deep divisions that there is. And I got Castaneda ranked 24 out of 90, right? I mean, like, this guy has fought nothing but really good competition at this level. Guys with a lot of fights, guys with winning records, well-rounded fighters. you know, when I see that big of a gap in strength of schedule, experience, you know, it means a lot when I know that I'm getting the more well-rounded fighter, you know? And so, yeah, I got to back Castaneda. This is a good bet, backing Castaneda at this price, because you cannot buy experience. And this guy Vologdin does look to be first-round KO or bust. And then when you look at his regional scene footage, as impressive as it is, it's in All-Stars Fight Night. You know, that is a promotion that is made by the gym that you fight at. So are they trying to get you losses? Are they trying to put you in there against people that are going to make their gym look bad? Of course not. So this guy has fought a really low level of competition, while we got Castaneda ranked number 24 out of 90 in the UFC's bantamweight division. Yeah, man, give me Castaneda all day here. If he loses, he loses, but you still made the right bet. More times than not, Mike, these guys are going to beat these debutantes with limited skill sets.
Yeah, I'll say one last thing about Castaneda. I think it's very important for this fight. Go back and watch Muin Gafurov, because I think he's kind of similar, but way more skilled than Vologdin, right? Explosive striker, yes. Very aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Gafurov is that, but he's way more skilled than Vologdin. And you could see, you know, Castaneda handled him pretty well. I mean, he lost round 2, but outside of that, he won round 1 and 3 pretty clean. And I would say Gafurov is a much, much better fighter than Vologdin, right? So it is a couple of years ago. Maybe Castaneda's winding down a little bit. I don't know. He's 34, but he's not that old. You know, he's not that old. And he's not fighting very often to be concerned, you know, saying that this guy's getting into wars or anything like that. I will say Marcos dropped him a couple of times. But again, Marcos is a precision striker. Like, he is not Mark Vologdin, right? So, half the battle, my man Dan says, smash a like for my brother Narco and my uncle Wheezy. Yes, please do that. Thank you very much. And he's about to go teach some BJJ fundamentals. We'll let you know if I see Francisco Prado there. That's a good one. That is an absolute good one. What else do we have here? Cameron Junkie says, what's a Castaneda sub 2 look like? Waiting for DK to prop. It's probably going to be very, very high, honestly. Thoughts on the under 2.5 in Siraj Yannis? You have any thoughts on that, Uncle Weezy?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd rather just play like Siraj inside the distance. But you know, Yannis could get a KO too. Siraj is very, very hittable. So I let me look at my model here and see where they have that at. Under 2.5, minus 110. It's a little bit overpriced according to the benchmark of the division, but it's a striker versus grappler matchup, so I don't mind it.
There you go. Team Moneyline, it says, I love Uncle Weezy. There you go. I love you too, man. We love you. We love all the support. Elder says Castaneda got this one. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Fight number 3. It's in the flyweight division. It is the 10-3 Mitch Raposo versus the 22-6 Alan Nascimento. Currently, Nascimento minus 185, and the comeback on Raposo at plus 160. Uncle Weezy, this line is bombarding down.
Yeah, Nascimento minus 185, Raposo plus 160 right now on Bet Online. So, yeah, you can get Nascimento at about 65% to win this fight. And I don't know if it's short or not, but I'd rather play Nascimento than Raposo here because, I mean, you want to talk about a guy that fights on, you know, razor thin margins. It's this Raposo because he doesn't fight. This guy doesn't do anything, man. You know, like there are certain things that statistics will point out very, very plain and clean. And what the statistics tell me is that Mitch Raposo doesn't do jack shit. You know, really not. I mean, how the hell are you only attempting 5 significant strikes per minute at distance? He throws 1 strike every 12 seconds. How are you going to win a fight like that? You know, like that's fighting not to lose. And when you see Raposo on the regional scene against these, you know, lower level fighters, he's killing some of these dudes, Mike. Like he's got power in his hands. I'm surprised he's not a little more aggressive because the guy can wrestle. He does have great power in a division where you don't see a lot of powerful strikers. So I've never been a fan of this guy. He just doesn't do enough for me. He's a little bit undersized for the division. And but I mean, he 2 split decisions against tough opponents in Sumaderji and Andre Lima. He gets a win as a massive underdog against Azat Maksum. But like, you could argue that he literally lost all 9 rounds of those fights, couldn't you?
100%. I'm with you.
So I mean, like, Nascimento is a guy
the Lima one was literally one judge had a 30-27 Raposo, by the way.
Yeah, I know, man. I mean, it was such a bad fight because all Lima was doing was landing calf kicks. So I could see how the one judge might have been like, you know what, fuck this guy. I'm giving it to this. I'm giving, all he's doing is kicking his calf and running away. So yeah, man, he's really low volume. Nascimento's not going to be satisfied with just striking with this dude either. Alan Nascimento has only spent 26% of his octagon time at distance striking range. So and Raposo's a wrestler. So he might be able to get on top in this fight. But as soon as he does, he's just going to be avoiding submission attempts, defending. And then eventually Nascimento sweeps you, puts you in a bad spot, maybe gets to your back. So I think Nascimento is going to win this fight. Could be a decision, could be a submission. I think Nascimento has almost all the finish upside, as he's never been finished as a pro. And he's a lot more experienced and has faced a better brand of competition. So I like Nascimento to win. But Raposo has the kind of skill set that you don't want to lay big juice against, because he might just slow down that fight to a screeching halt, and then the judges get involved and you have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, last fight, I think he edged it. I think that one probably could have been split, to be honest. I don't know. Watching 3 of Raposo's fights here in the UFC, either the judges love his style, which is shit. I don't know how you love that style, or he's like best friends with Dana White, and Dana White tells these judges to like score. Only look at one side when you're scoring, because I just don't understand some of these scorecards in these fights. Yeah. Honestly, I really don't. You mentioned it. I think he has good boxing. I actually do think he has good boxing, right?
He does.
The problem is he's got T-Rex arms. He really does. They're very short. Look at that 64-inch reach, right?
Bad.
He needs to kind of use his footwork and get into range to throw, and then get out of range, right? Or mix in his wrestling. Now, the problem is, if he starts grappling in this fight, I think he's going to get subbed. That's just how I feel. Like, this is not the type of guys he's been grappling. This is not Suma Darji. This is not these type of guys.
Yeah.
This is the guy that when you try to grapple him is going to make you pay. He's going to sweep you. He's going to get you in some weird position where he's going to get the best of you. And Nascimento can that's the thing. He can grapple for 3 rounds hard. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we saw it against Ulanbekov, an insane amount of submission attempts, sweeps, this and that. Same thing in the Filio fight, an insane amount of grappling. So the thing is, I don't really rate Nascimento's striking that much, but I think he has a very good kicking game. He's got those teeps up the middle, front kicks, calf kicks, body kicks. He has them and he uses them pretty well. And I think he's going to be the guy on the front foot in this fight, with Raposo doing his same bullshit over and over, circling and try to bounce in and out. The thing is, here, let me ask you this. Raposo's a plus 160 here against Nascimento, who, in my opinion, is probably better than all these other fighters he's faced, maybe outside of Lima, right? I think Lima's probably right there with him, I would say. But, like, if Raposo lost to Maxim last fight, what do you think this price would be here, honestly?
Oh, God. Well, I could tell you right now, Mitch Raposo was plus 265 against Lima. He was plus 130 against Sue. And he's plus 385 versus Azat Maksum, who went into that fight with a 1-2 UFC record.
So when you look at that, and he's minus 385 with Maxim, which I would take Nascimento over Maxim any day of the week. I really would. Too. Right? Why is this minus 185 now? You know what that means to me? It's a lot of recency bias, because Mitch Raposo, outside of very, very close split somehow. He's not winning this fight. So I like Nascimento here, and I think he's going to finish this guy, to be honest. Like, I think, I know Raposo's tough. He's a weasel, but we saw Hadley go out there and finish this guy, right?
One takedown attempt. He got it immediately. And let's just be honest. Jake Hadley wrestles nobody.
Yeah.
He looked like Jordan Burroughs. He shot in on a double leg, put him on his ass, got to his back. And I mean, that was in round 2. Yeah. It wasn't like Mitch was exhausted and he got his back taken in the 15th minute of the fight and gave up like Mike Malott against Magny. No, that was early in round 2. And he just got immediately tapped. And I mean, if Hadley's doing that to you, Nascimento is going to toy with you.
Yeah. And the thing is, every single one of Raposo's fights ends up on the ground at one point or another, right? Yeah. There's some grappling. There's some type of shit going on. So I like Raposo. I mean, I like Nascimento here quite a bit, honestly. I hope this line keeps coming in because it's just going to make me play him even easier, you know? I think this should be probably more in the 225 range, in my opinion, but we'll see where the line goes. And see what happens here. Let's move on. We don't want to. We got to stick to our hour here. We're behind schedule. Next fight. It is in a flyweight division. It is the 14-7 JJ Aldrich versus the 9-2 Jamie Lynn Horth, and currently Lynn Horth minus 160, and a comeback on Aldrich just plus 140. I think this line's purely wrong, in my opinion. Like, you're getting the younger fighter, the more experienced fighter. The girl that's way faster with better boxing, probably even the better wrestler of these two girls, at plus money here. I really don't get it, honestly. Like, Jamie Lynn Horth, guys, she is up there in age. She's doesn't have a lot of fights. She's going to split against Petrovic, for Christ's sake, in a very, very close fight. And then you go look at that Cowan fight, and it could easily be another split decision against Cowan, right? Mm-hmm. So because she beat Demopoulos at 125, who should never be – Demopoulos probably a 105er, to be honest, and fought her at 125. And then she beat Bleda, who's just not very good at all.
Dude, I heard Bleda tore her ACL before that fight. I heard she went into that fight on one leg, and because she hadn't fought in 2.5 years, she was like, oh, I don't care. I need a paycheck.
How is this line accurate? I'm confused here in this line. I really am confused because Aldrich on the feet should be able to box up Jamie Lynn Horth like no tomorrow. Jamie Lynn Horth is glacially slow on the feet, man. Yeah. Glacially slow. Footwork, no footwork. She's a plotter. Is she good in a clinch? Yes. Is she big? Yes. But I honestly think Aldrich's the better wrestler of these two girls. Like, Jamie Lynn Horth is body lock, trip, takedown type of girl. She's not going to drop for a double leg, right?
Yeah.
Aldrich has faced the way better level of opposition of these two girls, right? It's not even close. So I don't understand this minus 160 line on Lynn Horth. It's recency bias. Aldrich hasn't fought in a while, right? But this line makes zero sense to me why Horth is a favorite in this fight.
Yeah, and I think that, she's got a pretty impressive record of 4-2. She was having trouble finding fights on the Canadian regional scene, and she's huge for the division. So people like to see that she's going to be 2 inches taller than JJ. And people forgot about JJ. She was supposed to fight on the Chicago card against Karine Silva. She had to drop out of that fight with an injury. So now it's been 13 months. It's been over a year since we've seen JJ since her last fight, and that was a win against Andrea Lee. But yeah, she's a southpaw, which I think is good for this fight because JJ's got really good striking, like above average striking. You don't get as many wins in the UFC as JJ has without either A, being able to control the phases of the fight. Like, for instance, if you're facing a grappler, you better be able to stuff some takedowns. Or if you're facing somebody like Liang Na, you better be able to just kind of hang out for 3-4 minutes while she gasses herself out and have good enough defense to stay in the fight. And in other instances, you're going to just be the better striker. So you're just going to be able to keep the fight standing and win the minutes there and bank the rounds. But JJ's not finishing anybody, so people don't like people don't, she doesn't open eyes. You know, people aren't talking about JJ Aldrich, but as a gambler, you have to know who's going out there and winning minutes and banking rounds and cashing, you know, and with JJ Aldrich, you got an 8% ROI over 16 fights. And when she's priced as a favorite, she's gone 7-1 with a 34% ROI. Now, she's got a negative ROI as an underdog, but if you look at who she's been an underdog against, it's like, okay, you know, these are some really good fighters. You know, Erin Blanchfield, for instance, she's been out there against some of the best flyweights in the division. So, yeah, I think that this is a step up for Jamie Lynn. And if she's unable to get this fight into the clinch where she can wear on JJ with her size, if she can potentially get a trip takedown and get some top time, make JJ grapple, that's going to go well for her. You know, the problem is that Jamie Lynn Horth spends 52% of her time at distance striking range. So she has been effective getting fights into control time positions where she's winning only 36% because she's actually able to be controlled in the clinch. But JJ is spending 75% of her distance strike of her time in the cage at distance striking range. And she's got pretty good takedown defense, and she's allowing less than one takedown per 15 minutes. So I think that JJ is the better striker here. And like you said, she's just way faster. And the fact that she's a southpaw gives her an advantage at distance striking range as well. So I'm leaning with her to win the minutes, but she's going to have to use that big cage to not let Jamie Lynn Horth wear on her with her size and physicality, because that's what Jamie does really well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. But also, like, I feel like she's pretty clumsy too, man. Like Jamie Lynn Horth. Like, watching back that Petrovic fight, I mean, Petrovic got her down in bad positions a couple of times in that fight. It's like, is Petrovic that good of a grappler? Like, she's a striker. So I don't understand. Like, you know, in the Maverick fight, she really didn't have success, you know. Same thing. And the Veronica Hardy fight, you know, with Jamie Lynn Horth, right? I know it was a close fight, but Hardy kind of engaged in grappling in that fight too. I don't know if you remember at some point in that fight. And I don't understand why, but also Hardy doesn't really throw as hard as Aldrich does, in my opinion. I think Aldrich has like stronger like punches, boxing. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think this line's wrong. Like, I think this should be pick 'em at best. But maybe I'm way off here. I'm happy to take plus 140 on Aldrich here. Let's move on. Next fight.
Wins in a row for Horth. That's why I think the market, you don't see two impressive wins in these divisions often. But when you consider the opponents, it really doesn't mean much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like Demopoulos up a weight class. And then,
Bleda,
like you mentioned, the girl blew her ACL in round one. What kind of wins are these?
Yeah.
Like, what does Aldrich do to both these girls? You know, like easily.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Next fight. It is in a bantamweight division. It is the 10-2 Daria Zheleznyakova versus the 7-3 Melissa Croden. And currently, Croden is a minus 153 favorite. The comeback on Daria, it's plus 133. Uncle Weezy, what do you got here?
So I really thought before I did the tape on this fight that I was going to have a big bet on Croden this week, because I think Zheleznyakova has got a big hole in her grappling game. You know, she's a transparent belt on the mat. If you're getting subbed by Eileen Perez, look out, man. You stink at grappling, because Eileen Perez couldn't sub anybody. She can't spell sub. And she locked up an arm triangle like she was Rodolfo Vieira in that fight. So I think that Melissa Croden's going to need to be a pressure fighter. She's going to need to look to get into the clinch here. She's going to need to wear on Daria, make her grapple, because Melissa's too hittable at distance striking range. And I don't like that, because I think Daria is going to be faster than her. I think she's going to be the cleaner striker. I think she's more likely to win minutes and moments, which is weird against somebody like Croden, who has a 100% finish rate. Croden gets her finishes in the clinch and on the mat from top control. She's not a good striker at distance striking range. So it's phase control is very important. Croden's going to need to be aggressive. She's going to need to clinch up. She's going to need to make this fight happen in a phone booth where her physicality, strength, clinch knees, clinch elbows, and potential trip takedowns to get to top time against Daria will give her the best chance to win. But I haven't seen a lot of that from her, man. Like, I think she's kind of happy to be at distance striking range. And if she does that against Daria, I think Daria is going to look like a favorite.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing in this fight is I don't think Daria is very smart. That's one. I think her fight IQ is very, very bad. I think she's going to be much faster, like you said, in and out, darting. The problem is, from what I've seen on tape, is she tends to jump into her punches a lot, like her 1-2s, instead of just keeping them clean. And at the end of, she's jumping into the punches where she's getting so close in range where girls are able to grab her. You know, Melissa Mullins did that to her a couple of times and got her down because she was so aggressive coming forward with the punches. Instead of just being technical, she's just looking to land. And the other thing is, when she is getting into these positions, she's also allowing her opponents to land big shots. I mean, look at how many big shots Melissa Mullins landed on her.
I know.
You know, and Mullins is not a good striker at all. I agree with you. I think at distance, Melissa Croden, I would not say, I honestly think she's a good striker. The problem is she is so slow. She is extremely slow. Yeah. Like, her punches are coming slow. Her kicks are mechanical and slow. Yeah. I think she has good form when she's throwing.
Yeah.
The problem is she's just super slow.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Daria is going to be in there right in her face, allowing her to land on her. That's the thing. And the other thing is, Uncle Weezy, if Rendon can get you down, who's glacially slow, right?
Yeah.
Glacially slow, cannot strike for shit, cannot cut off the cage for shit. And she still got her down numerous times in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was a smaller cage, but like, it's Daria gets taken down. That's the thing. Yeah. She does not, you know, for whatever reason, she's always grappling, you know, in every fight. She gets taken down. She gets takedowns, whatever. So I think it's inevitable that Melissa Croden is going to grab her at some point and get her down. And I think on top, she is going to absolutely smash her.
Yeah.
Smash her.
Yeah.
Because Daria looks terrible on bottom, in my opinion. And Croden on top is very, very mean, man. She is mean with the ground and pound. So I like Croden, honestly. Like, even at this price, like, I haven't bet her or anything, but I think she wins this fight because, first of all, Daria is not going to stick to the game plan. She's not going to be sticking and moving. She's going to get in there, make it dirty, like every fucking fight of hers. She's bleeding in every fight, right? Yeah. That's the other thing. Optics have been looking really bad for her. I mean, Rendon fight, she was busted up. Melissa Mullins fight, busted up. I don't remember the Eileen Perez. She might have not been busted up, but she got subbed instantly. So it's like her optics have just been bad in a lot of these fights. And I think it's going to be bad again in this fight. I think she's going to get busted up again.
Yeah.
I agree with you. She's going to be landing on the feet until she gets hit or gets in the clinch. And then in the clinch, she's going to get cooked. Croden's good there. She's good. She's strong. She's big. She did have a lot of trouble last fight against Santos, but she's a judo black belt. She's very, very good in the clinch.
You can't be in the clinch with a judo black belt. They will toy with you there and they will throw you.
And she threw her. She threw her a couple of times, and that's how she ended up winning, because she held her there with the head and arm, you know. So yeah, I like Croden here, honestly. I really do. I don't know if I'm gonna bet her, but I can't bet this Daria girl. She's just, fight IQ is not very good. Optics are not very good. And she gets taken down in every fight. So,
yeah, I actually used the word optics in my write-up because her face looks like hamburger meat the first time she takes a jab, because she's clearly had cosmetic work done. And, you know, like, she's like the long-lost Russian Diaz brother is what I called her, because, like, you touch her once and there's just a giant cut, and then she's just full of blood. It's hilarious.
And she's red everywhere. And, her optics are bad.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Fight number 6. It is in the heavyweight division. It is the 22-10-1 Tanner Boser versus the 11-2 Gokam Saricam. He's currently minus 158 with the comeback on Boser at plus 138. Plain and simple, I think Boser doesn't even know if he's a light heavyweight or heavyweight. You know, he's going back and forth. The reason why he did move from heavyweight to light heavyweight is he said that, you know, he felt, you know, some of these guys were bigger, stronger than him. Nascimento, who is not a very fucking good grappler, absolutely grappled the shit out of this guy. Boser on bottom, just clueless, you know, just sitting there on bottom. Terrible look, in my opinion, against Nascimento. Then when you see, you know, he got cut right after the Alexa Kamer fight, and Kamer, he retired after that fight. Kamer's like not a, you know, 6-3, very young, just not a really good fighter. Last fight against Moreira, he got mounted in round 1 against this Moreira guy. The thing that I see with Saricam and people, he's low volume, sure, but I think he has explosive double legs, very, very good double legs. I think he's very athletic, actually, for heavyweight. And if you watch Daniel James fight, who's a fucking huge heavyweight, why can't he do what he did, you know, to Tanner Boser, what he did to Daniel James? Like, he took him down, rinse and repeat, against a huge heavyweight. And I think even on the feet, I think he's more explosive. He's even faster, honestly, than Boser on the feet, in my opinion. Better footwork. You see also some of these guys coming from Bellator, the heavyweights, have had a decent amount of success in the UFC, you know, as far as heavyweights concerned. So I think Saricam is just the way better fighter here, man. Way, way better everywhere this fight goes. Volume-wise, I would give Boser that, but that's about it in this fight. I think Gokam's way more explosive, stronger, bigger, the real heavyweight, the better grappler. And yeah, I like Saricam here quite a bit.
Is that Daniel James fight available on YouTube?
I believe so. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah.
You know, on whatever it was, the Watch MMA Full, that was the link I got for that fight, and that link wasn't working on Watch MMA Full, so I didn't get to see that fight.
Hit the prelim. I think it's on the prelims of that Bellator card.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll have to look at that because I saw the Popov fight, I saw the Maori fight, and I'm like, okay, he got out grappled in those fights. That doesn't really apply to this fight against Boser. Boser's not going to grapple anyone. He's a pure striker and a very good one at that. But Gokan's a good striker. From what I could tell, you know, when I was watching him in Bellator on the fights that I did see, even though the Popov fight was only on the feet for about 30 seconds of the 15 minutes, like, he's pretty smooth out there for a heavyweight. Like you said, he moves pretty well. So I think while this is on the feet, that this should be pretty competitive. I favor Boser just because we've seen him in there against much higher level strikers. But yeah, I saw Saricam get some takedowns. I feel like it might have been the Joffe Holton fight. I think he got a takedown early in that one.
And the Milner fight.
Yeah, and the Milner fight happened right away. Like that one, yeah. That one I was like, oh, okay, that guy's, I'm surprised he got that one done in 15 seconds. But and then I saw that he fought Zheleznyakova, who's like he's morbidly obese, but the guy, I think it was a Sambo world champion at one point. So he's fought some decent guys. I mean, I don't think I'd want to pay minus 160 for him because Boser might be able to keep this standing for extended stretches. And if he does, I think he'll win the minutes and bank the rounds. But yeah, this one probably goes a decision. And I think the line is pretty good because Saricam probably has more ways to win this fight. Long layoff for Boser, not so long of a layoff for Saricam.
Yep. Let's move on. We are doing this. Next fight is the middleweight division. It is the 10-2 Julian LeBlanc versus the 10-6 Robert Valentin. Currently, Valentin's minus 145 and the comeback on LeBlanc at plus 125. I mean, you are searching for the bottom of the barrel. Well, here you go, Uncle Weezy.
You found it. I mean, yeah, they see, like, I was talking with Narco just before the fight started, and I said that, you know, when you properly wiki cap the fights, right, before you put on the tape and find out what is it that I'm looking for on tape here. I've wiki capped the fight. You know, I know what I need to know about what these guys are doing trend-wise, how they've been priced, how they're winning and losing fights. what they're doing in their recent fights and where they're at in their career. Once you've done that, everything that you should do from the wiki capping should be telling you, yeah, I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time taping this fight, because why would I want to bet on Julian LeBlanc? And why would I want to bet on Robert Valentin? I don't think either of these guys should be here. Valentin beat a couple of Euro trash guys in the Ultimate Fighter House, came out against a very below average fighter in Loader and just got rinsed on the mat in rounds 1 and 2. He did have a chance to finish the fight, but he blew that and then wound up getting knocked out by a guy who hasn't won a fight since. And then he goes to a close decision with Torres Finney. I don't even know who won that fight. And then he fights like a complete moron and shoots 0 takedowns against Ateba Gautier and takes probably generational brain damage in that fight too. So I don't want my money on either of these guys. Not betting on either of them. I don't like to fade shit with shit. The bookies have to make lines, Narcocop. We don't have to bet them. And your Uncle Wheezy will be laughing his ass off at somebody getting served in this fight probably.
Yeah, I mean, I watched this Julian LeBlanc guy, right? And I watched 7 fights of this guy because I didn't know who he was, honestly.
Yeah.
I never watched him in the regionals. I'm like, he's a 34-year-old guy making his UFC debut. He's only got 12 fights at 34, so he's not a prospect, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this guy about? Like, is he actually skilled? Is he good? I turn on the first fight. He fights this guy that looks like he's an uncle of somebody, and not Uncle Wheezy, right? He's an uncle of someone else. But this dude came in on short notice, looks horrific. Doesn't even know. There was one point where the last guy, he threw a punch, Uncle Wheezy. He went to throw a back fist, and he fell on the ground. It was fucking hilarious. Absolute hilarity from this other dude, Rohovich guy, right?
Yeah, that guy came in on like 2 days' notice. I watched that fight too. It was a total short notice guy that they were like thanking him for showing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the guy just doesn't even belong in the ring,
Yeah.
Then you look at Darian Weeks' fight. He's just absolutely getting grappled by Weeks.
Yeah.
Left, right, and center. And guess what? Darian Weeks is a guy that fights at 170, not 185.
Mm-hmm.
He took that fight at 85 and was absolutely running through this guy in a grappling up until he got busted up and the fight got stopped because of cut stoppage, and he was mad. Darian Weeks was super pissed when they stopped that fight. Then you go back
to a 5-round fight where it got stopped at the end of round 3. So if that's just a 3-round fight, Weeks wins at 30-27 or probably 29-28 because LeBlanc landed the knee at the end of the third.
Yeah. Okay. And then you look at the Chapman guy who's 5-7.
Yeah.
And he dropped Julian LeBlanc with a right hand in that fight in round 2. And that was a very close fight. LeBlanc won it like with top time in round 3, and then his 2 losses, man, this is where it gets concerning to me. 2018 against Damian Lapalus, right? Damian Lapalus has fought at 70, at 55.
Yeah.
And Lapalus absolutely put 14 minutes of top time. LeBlanc just get taken down, just laying on his back for 14 minutes of this fight. It's amazing. I'm like, what is going on? Taylor Lapalus, Damian Lapalus is a fucking striker.
Yeah.
Damian Lapalus, guys, has fought at fucking featherweight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, what is going on? And then, Joel Bauman, same thing, gets takedowns against this guy, right? And the one thing with LeBlanc is I think he has good kicks. Like, he's got pretty good kicks. He's got like this really good step and knee, but his hands are not very good, in my opinion. And he's low volume. He can get taken down easily, it seems like. But Robert Valentin is one dumb motherfucker. So how could you bet on this guy? Like, if you told me Valentin said, fuck this, I'm grappling in this fight, I would 100% bet him.
Yeah.
But I doubt he is. The guy is just a moron. He's got no fight IQ. He's getting hit by Gautier and he's telling him, come on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Give me more.
Yeah.
And then he gets knocked out shortly thereafter. Like, did you want more? Oh, did you really want more? And it's like, I can't bet LeBlanc because he's just no good, in my opinion, right? And honestly, historically, Valentin is very tough. He's not easy to get out of there. I've seen him hurt many times, but he's just not easy to get out of there, you know? So I kind of lean Valentin, but there's, like you said, am I an idiot to fucking bet this fight? Absolutely not. I'm not betting this fight. Yeah. So it's a pass for me, but I'm going to go with Valentin. I just think UFC experience, better level of opposition, more ways to win, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with him here.
And he's younger.
And he's a little bit younger. And you know, we've seen LeBlanc fight at 70 as well. Last fight was weird. At 85, he weighed 180. So I don't know if this guy's a true middleweight as well. I don't really know. We do know that Valentin is a middleweight, you know, so yeah, I lean Valentin here. Moving on, next fight in the featherweight division. It is the 12-5 Dennis Buzukja versus the 17-2 Mauricio Barbosa. And currently Barbosa -500. And the comeback on Buzukja at 375. Short and sweet. Barbosa hits like a truck. Yeah. He's got very, very good head movement. I love his style where he's excellent at cutting off the cage, man.
Yes.
Excellent. When I tell you guys, if you want to learn how to cut off the cage, go watch Mauricio Barbosa because he is he's taking these big steps. He's not running. He's not wasting a lot of energy. It's excellent when you see this guy cut off the cage, man. It's really, really good. And his power is like elite fucking power. And we saw Buzukja get one-shotted by Emmers.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting killed here. That's all I'm going to say. Like, yes, I've seen Barbosa get tired in rounds 2 and 3. And I don't even know tired, but he got finished in both those fights. He's killing Buzukja. I'm telling you guys. Buzukja, he's too open defensively. And if you're open against a guy like this, he's going to absolutely murder you. So give me Barbosa here. I'm not laying 500, but he's going to kill him. I mean, there's nothing else to say.
Yeah, I mean, the line is ridiculous for a guy who's never really done anything, never won a fight. Oh, he does have one win that went to decision, but other than that, I mean, if the fight gets out of round 1, the guy's a complete unknown. So you don't lay -500 on fighters like that against more, experienced UFC guys like Buzukja. But not only did Emmers nuke Buzukja in round 1, but don't forget Francis Marshall right at the beginning of round 2. Absolutely nukes Buzukja, and if you watch the 5 seconds that precede it, it's just Marshall walking him down. And I'm like, man, that's exactly what Mauricio Barbosa is going to do to him. And you better be good at cutting off the cage if you fight like Mauricio Barbosa, because everybody runs from this dude. Like, he puts on such heavy pressure that you have no choice but to just run and like try to find some space because he's not giving you any. And he really trusts, and he's always moving his head too. Have you noticed that, Narcocop? In the in-between, this guy's head is not staying on the center line, and you don't see that very often out of heavy pressure fighters. So this guy's been on the UFC's radar for quite a while because of the style that he fights with, and they're giving him the type of fight that he needs to kind of announce himself to the UFC faithful now, because he's been doing this on the regional scene against some really good competition in LFA, in Jungle Fight-G, in some of the better regional scene organizations, Shutu as well. So this guy didn't take the shortcut way. He didn't pad his record. This guy's been knocking out real fighters for a long time. So yeah, I think he's going to get a first-round KO.
By the way, UFC had called this guy. I don't know if you know, like years ago. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a visa thing or something happened where he couldn't make it. And the UFC said, okay, well, forget it. We'll catch back with you later. Yeah. And he's still 27, man. He's still only 27. He's got some really, really good wins on the regional scene. You know, some good guys like Wellington Prado is a good guy, very tough guy to get out of there. And he absolutely made him quit eating shots. He's like, fuck this. I want no more of these shots. You know, this guy hits different. I think the one thing is that he can fix. I don't think it's a cardio thing, by the way. He blows his wad. When he sees you hurt, he goes absolutely ballistic.
Yeah.
And that's what he needs to tame down, in my opinion. He needs to slow that down, because I don't think his cardio is bad. It's just that he blows his wad. Like,
the Santos fight, Narcocop, he
hurt him
basically finished him,
dude.
He finished. Yeah, dude, he hurt. I mean, like a lot of refs would have stopped that fight, and then he got clipped with the first head kick in the second round. So you didn't even really find anything out because he might have been fine to go the whole second round, but he emptied the tank trying to finish him and probably did finish him 3 or 4 different times. It's just Osiris Maia didn't stop it.
Yeah. And then the other one was that, 2021, which was 5.5 years, he's 22 years old. And he was fighting for some odd reason, he fought at bantamweight in that fight. Well, I think that probably even took a lot more out of him,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to say here. I think he's going to knock out Buzukja. I think even if the fight goes on, if he doesn't go for the kill and gas himself out, I think he's fine here, honestly, because he's going to find Buzukja's chin eventually.
Yeah.
Moving on, next fight. It is in the lightweight division. It is the 19-9 Thiago Moises versus the 10-3 Gage Young. Currently, Young -130, and the comeback on Thiago Moises at +110. Uncle Weezy, what do you have here? And we have our friend DFS by the numbers, Brady, in the house. What's up? Uncle Weezy setting a content record for UFC Winnipeg.
Yeah, Brady doesn't know that I was filling out tax forms when Narcocop asked me to come on, and I was like, just give me out. Absolutely. How long do you need me for? 3 hours? So, yeah, I'm interested to hear your opinion on this one too, Brady, Narcocop, because this one, I feel like it's definitely a Thiago Moises side at +110. When I watch the tape on Young, right, the Mahashate fight was very close. The Evan Elder fight was very close. The Salkeld fight, we know how good Salkeld is. And I think people are overrating him from that loss. But when you look at the win, it was okay against Mahashate, in my opinion. It was just all right. So Moises is a guy who I think is going to land heavy leg kicks. He's going to absolutely be, I think, at least 50-50 with Young on the feet, if not better than him. But God help Gage Young if Thiago Moises gets him down and consolidates top position, because this is a different level of grappling than what Quillen Salkeld has. I think people get stars in their eyes when they see a good prospect like Salkeld, and they forget that just 4 years ago, this guy went to a UFC event and said, I want to do this. Thiago Moises was born in a gi, his dad had him, he wasn't even wearing diapers. They just sent him outside to pee because, he could just go underneath the gi, if Moises gets this dude down, it's going to be serious problems for Gage Young here. So once again, I can look at my strength of schedule rankings and see in a division where, Thiago Moises is fighting against some of the best fighters in the division. He's ranked number 22 out of 100, while I got Gage Young ranked number 74 out of 100. Massive step up in competition for Gage Young, and I don't think he's been separating from guys that we've seen him in there to the extent that we should think he's going to beat somebody like Thiago Moises. So the step up in competition is a lot for me. The grappling discrepancy between these two fighters is a lot for me. So I'm thinking about backing Thiago Moises at the window here. Interested to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at these two guys. I looked at the resumes. I looked at everything, and I'm like, I gotta probably bet Thiago Moises here. Like, he's plus money, fought way better people. Then I went into tape, and I remember Gage Young, because I will tell you, I bet Gage Young as a big underdog against Evan Elder in that fight. Him and Evan Elder, obviously, they knew each other. They're from the Midwest.
Yes.
They've trained together, right? They trained together. He took that fight on 6 days' notice. And if you watch back that fight, he was very hesitant against Evan Elder. He was kind of in the bright lights, UFC debut. I think it got the best of him. He did well in round 3. He rocked Evan Elder in round 3. But I don't even think he noticed that he rocked Evan Elder in round 3. If you go back and watch it with about 2 minutes left, he rocked Evan Elder with a big shot. And I don't even think he realized, because Evan Elder took a step and he did like the chicken dance. Like he couldn't step right. And Gage Young totally did not see it and did not pursue him at that point. And like in that fight, it was kind of like a ticking, back and forth type of fight, but Evan Elder just did more, right? He did more. The kicking. Yeah. The kicking was giving Young problems. The switching of stances was giving Young problems. And honestly, Evan Elder is underrated. I mean, the guy's a good grappler. He's a good striker. He's very technical. He's good defensively, right? So, and he's like a brick house, right? Evan Elder. So, the thing that I've seen from Gage Young, in my opinion, is that Thiago Moises' path here is a RNC, is a rear naked choke, get to the back. But I've liked his defensive wrestling, honestly. I think his defensive wrestling is actually really good. I know that Salkild got him down a bunch, what, 7, 8 times or something, a ridiculous amount of times. But I think Salkild's a better wrestler than Moises is. I don't really think Moises is that good of a wrestler. And the other thing is like the fight against Gordon, where he just gets flatlined with one shot. Jared Gordon, it's a head scratcher, because I think Gage Young hits very hard. Honestly, I know the Mahashate fight didn't look great. He did bust up Mahashate in that fight, but 25-year-old traveling all the way for the first time, going to China.
I was impressed by that. Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot for it. And he said this is the first time I've ever been out of the States fighting, right? Yeah. And then the Mahashate is so long and awkward. He's a long guy. I think that's what made the fight a little bit closer than what it should have been, probably. I like Young here, to be honest. I think he can find Moises' chin, to be honest. I think he's faster than Moises. That's another thing. I think he's got better footwork than Moises. Moises is too stiff. When you watch him strike, he's very rigid. Uncle Weezy, this motherfucker never moves his head. Go watch his fights. His head is on a totem pole. It doesn't fucking move. He's striking. He's doing all this stuff, but there's zero head movement from Thiago Moises. His head is on a platter. He has his hands up. Defensively, he's there, but there's a zero head movement from this guy, and he's extremely rigid to me. Like he's like a robot when he's throwing punches. It's so weird. Young is a lot more fluid. He's a lot more fluid with his punches, fluid with his footwork. He moves his head. And I think he's the better wrestler of these two guys. Does he want to wrestle? No. I don't think it's a smart thing to do. But even when you watch the Moises against who's the guy from the Midwest? Trey Ogden. He's not fucking looking good in that fight. He's getting
I laid juice on him, Mike, and I was horrified with round one. Horrified. Dude, I was like, what is he doing? He didn't wrestle at all. He didn't go after him. Nothing. I was like, oh my God, this is a horrible bet. And he got 2 lucky takedowns, and it saved his ass.
Well, it was the leg kick. Do you remember the leg kick?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He didn't
made him a one-legged fighter
in the second round.
Yes. So, yeah, I kind of like Young here, honestly. I think he's the younger, the more trajectory up. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter, in my opinion. He's the better striker of these two guys, believe it or not, from what I've seen, especially defensively. Moises just too stiff for me, man. He's way too stiff. He does have some power, but I also think his chin is going. But I absolutely agree with you. If this fight hits the mat, and if you watch Young against Salkild, where Salkild got his back, he almost got him with an RNC. If that's Moises, it's a good night.
Yeah.
So I played the under here. That's what I did. I love the under because I think Moises either gets knocked out or I think he finds this guy back and subs him.
I could see it, man. It's a great fight because, like, you got Young, who's clearly on the come up, and you got Moises, who's only 31. But like you said, like I had money on him in the Ogden fight. He didn't look great. Who cares about the Mitch Ramirez loss? But when you read the names that he's losing to, Jared Gordon, Ludovic Klein, Benoit Saint-Denis, Joel Alvarez, Islam Makhachev, Demir Ismagulov, and Benil Dariush.
Yeah, the
We're
best.
not mentioning Gage Young's name with any of those guys. You know, like he's got a long way to go before he gets to that status. So
yeah,
that's what always worries me. And you're laying juice on this young man at 130. So I don't know, man. It's definitely, you can make a good case for both sides here.
Yep. Let's move on. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention about this that fight is I just so people know, this guy did his camp at Fighting Nerds, but he also did his camp with the Fighting Nerds for the Ludovic Klein fight, just so people know. Like he's been going back and forth between AT&T and the Fighting Nerds. So I don't want people to make such a big deal. Oh, he's at Fighting Nerds now. He had a long camp. Sure, it might help him, but he was there before. Moving on, next fight in the flyweight division. It is the 19-6 Carini Silva versus the 14-4 Jasmine Jasudavicius. Jasudavicius minus 300, and the comeback on Carini Silva plus 250. I mean, I think this is a pretty good matchup for Jasmine, just because, Carini fight IQ is not very good, especially in the grappling. Like, she'll go for guillotines, she'll end up on bottom, she'll be fishing for submissions off bottom instead of trying to get up. These kind of things are probably bad against a girl like Jasmine, because she has good top control. She has good ground and pound. She's very heavy on top, right? But on the other hand, it's like Carini Silva is a good fighter. Jasmine shouldn't probably be minus 300 against a girl like this, who's actually has good ground game as well. Probably the better striker, even though it's not by much. She's more explosive than Jasmine is. And the other thing is, like, when you look at Carini Silva, she wins round ones at a high clip. Like, she's always winning round ones, and I feel like she's probably even going to win round one here, because I think while she's fresh and she doesn't maybe pull a guillotine, I don't think Jasmine can take her down early. I think she's going to be stronger potentially than Jasmine early, right? So I think the later this fight goes is when it gets sketchy for Carini Silva, right? I think Jasmine wins, but like there's no way I can lay minus 300 in this spot. Like, absolutely not, because I think Carini Silva is a good fighter, and they're pricing her like she's a bum. And I absolutely don't think she's a bum. Like, you look at, I get it. She fights close in her wins. But she also fights close in her losses. I think that's also important to say, because our usual fight, very, very close, right? Even Macy Barber fight was a pretty fucking damn close fight. I know Macy Barber went with the grappling late and got it and eventually won that fight. But the point is, she had Macy's back in round one, So I don't think this is a minus 300 look, honestly. I don't understand why Jasmine is minus 300 here. They love her. She's in Canada. I get it. But I think this line's wrong, if you ask me. And I also think that you probably can get a better price on Jasmine live.
Potentially, yeah. I don't think the line is wrong, no, Mike. If you look at the history of how these ladies have been priced, and then you factor in the really bad recency bias on Carini Silva over her last three fights, right? Because Jasmine Jasudavicius was plus 190 versus Manon Fiorot, so you expect her to be an underdog there. But before that, she's minus 300 versus Jessica Andrade. She's minus 250 versus Mayra Bueno Silva, who was one or two fights removed from a title shot. She was minus 255 versus Ariane Lipski. So the market had confidence to price her up around minus 300 before. And then you look at Carini Silva, right? She shits the bed versus Araujo as a minus 300 favorite. So right there, the market's mad at you, right? Then what do? They price you at almost minus 200 versus Diani Barbosa, and you basically lose that fight, but you win it on the judges' scorecards. So now you just underperformed a minus 190 price tag, and then you go out there and you lose as a plus 170 underdog versus Barber. So I kind of understand how they got Carini to plus 250 here. I think Jasmine can get her down whenever she wants to. Carini's strong. She's physical, but she's got dog shit takedown defense, and she loves her Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And we know these BJJ players fold like a lawn chair when you take them down, because That's what they want. They want to be there. She wants to be there. So I think it's going to be very tricky early in the fight, because you take down Karine Silva when both fighters are dry, she's going to be going for shit. She's going to be looking for that guillotine on the way down. If you put one of your legs too close to her, she's going to look to wrap up that leg. And you don't want her getting a hold of your leg. You're going to the hospital if Karine Silva gets a hold of your leg or your arm. Like, she's sent so many girls to the hospital. That's why they call her the killer. So, it's going to be tricky early, but the longer this fight goes, as Karine slows down and as Jasmine gets the takedowns easier and easier, and as both fighters get a little bit slick and it becomes harder to find those submissions, I think we're going to see Jasmine wear on her, potentially even get a finish. But I kind of like the under here, man. Jasudavicius coming off a KO loss. So Karine by KO is live. Karine's always live for a submission because she's super, aggressive with her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And she's a plus 250 underdog. So if Jasmine gets on top, lands good ground and pound, maybe hurts her, she could lock up a Darce choke. She could finish with ground and pound. So I could see paths to finishes for both fighters here. So rather than pay minus 300 for Jasmine, you could say something like, I'll take plus 200 on the fight doesn't go, and just hope that Jasmine finds a finish. And if she gets caught, even better. I cash then too. So that's what I'm thinking about for this fight.
Yeah, that's not a bad look. I think both girls can finish. I agree with you. Plus, Karine Silva is a gasser. Let's
exactly. And Jasmine can wear on you, and she's got several third-round finishes.
My only thing in this fight, I don't think a lot of people have looked into it. I kind of looked into it. I'm not sure how often it happens. But what if Karine Silva gets on top of her? Because there is a world where Karine Silva gets on top of her, because she did it. Like I said, she took Barber's not easy to take down.
Yeah.
And get her back. And she did it to her. Right.
Yeah. She did.
So what if she goes to the grappling and takes down Jasmine and gets, on top of her back? Right. I think there is that scenario. I don't want people to think that there's, that scenario cannot happen here, because this is the other thing. If you look at who Jasmine has fought, she's fought primarily nothing but strikers, girls that don't grapple proactively, right? This is a girl in Karine Silva that will proactively grapple in some of her fights, right? Historically, she's done it. Almost in all of her fights, she's grappled, proactively. So I think that's one thing to look at, because when you talk about Manon Fiorot, Jessica Andrade, MBS, or, Arani Lipski, even Fatima Klein, she loves her hands, like Priscilla Cachoeira. The last girl that she fought that can grapple and wrestle was Tracy Cortez, and she lost to her.
Yeah, and Tracy's not finishing anybody.
Yeah, and that's literally, Maverick was the one before that, and that was a close fight against Miranda Maverick.
Yeah.
So what if Karine Silva gets her down and gets on top? What happens then?
Yeah.
So I think it's just something to think about in this fight, not to think that grappling is only one way here, in my opinion, at least. Just based on who Jasmine has faced and historically, who she has faced or had trouble against, right? Which is girls like Tracy Cortez. Even Natalia Silva took her down, if you remember, in that
that's
fight.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That was a long time ago, but Jasmine's been kind of the same fighter. Like, all she does, she wants to grapple, right? Like, she's just not a striker for the most part. All right, let's move on. We went over the 1 hour mark. Fuck me. All right. Next fight. It is in the lightweight division. It is the 13-6-1 John Herbert with the 14-3 Mendel Nallo. Nallo's minus 170. Herbert plus 145. What do you think here, Uncle Weezy? I think this is striker versus striker.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Herbert might look to slow this one down, but I just hope he gets slept. I just can't stand this guy anymore. His last 5 fights have been awful. Once he got knocked out by Topuria, he changed completely as a fighter, and the Black Country Banger became, just the Black Country Accountant. He's about that exciting in there. I don't know what he's doing, but it's not fighting. And Nallo is not going to kind of let you just, slow it down on you. He finishes everything, so I'm hoping that he is able to resist Jai Herbert's, desire not to fight and create an exciting fight where we get the Black Country banger banging his head off the canvas after getting head kicked into oblivion.
Yeah. The only thing, like, if you listen to Nallo's interview, this is a guy that he talks about how much money he has, or his family has, his wife has. I think his wife is a physician. She's a doctor. So they have a lot of money. He talks about he doesn't need to fight, he doesn't need to fight, because they asked him, like, how you don't have a lot of fights, what's going on? Like, I don't really need to fight. I'm well off. We don't really, I like to fight. I like to go out there and fight. But Uncle Weezy, I got a question for you. When you have a nickname of rat garbage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that nickname. I know he changed it, or he said he changed it. And then you look at this image that I have there. Does that guy not look like he's from the sewers? Like he's a rat in there? Look at that guy.
And I think he had a rat tail at one point, which is probably why they called him that. Yeah, dude,
look at this guy.
I remember people were calling him rat garbage. I'm like, why are you calling him that? I'm like, what did he do? No, he calls himself that. I'm like, there's no way, and I didn't believe him, and then it was like, oh my God.
He seems like a very awkward dude when you look at his Instagram. He's some weird paintings, and I don't know what the fuck's going on. But when you listen to his interview, he's actually pretty smart. Like you could tell he's a smart guy with the way he speaks. And but when we're talking about this fight, man, I kind of think it's close, honestly, Uncle Weezy. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I like Nallo. I think he has very precision striking. I think his calf kicks are amazing. I think that's where he can give Jai a ton of problems. Go back and watch the Bedoya fight early. Bedoya kicked the shit out of Herbert's calf. And if those same calf kicks were landed by Nallo, Herbert would be on the ground, not walking, because Nallo's calf kicks are some of the best I've seen in the game. They're very hard. They're not like just touching you. They're absolutely blasting you. And he's got very long legs, man. I will tell you guys, I've been doing kickboxing for a while and Muay Thai. These long fucking limb guys, long legs, they're skinny, but fuck do they hurt, because they're bony, and that shin just fucking blasts you in the calf, and it hurts as shit. And Nallo has those legs, man. They're long, skinny, but he blasts those calf kicks, man, and they're fast. He whips them. And Herbert needs to be very fucking careful with those early, right? I think Herbert has the better hands of these two guys, honestly. I really do. I think he's the better boxer. More fluid with his hands, faster hands. Nallo has a good jab. But Herbert has the better boxing here by far. But Nallo has very sneaky shots, man. Up kicks, deeps, sneaky left hooks just coming out of nowhere, and he's long. So I think Herbert needs to be careful, because his chin might not be very good, in my opinion. That's probably why he's been fighting the way he's been fighting. He got wobbled in round 3 against Padilla. I don't know if you saw it. It was like a little short elbow right to his chin, and he like, woo, he almost fell, but he caught himself, right? That basically made him lose the fight, because of that little short elbow that he ate. He lost the fight because he was winning round 3, and he lost it because of that. I think Nallo probably has more finishing upside, but I think the longer this fight plays out, I think it's going to favor Jai Herbert. He's got more experience in the UFC. He's got more of the 3-round experience. If you look at Nallo, that's the other thing that's kind of a big red flag on this guy. To be fair, Uncle Weezy, this guy, believe it or not, has only 2 wins outside of round 1, and those were both in round 2. Yep. He's never won a fight that is extended in round 3. That's not good.
He's never even been to a decision, dude. Never.
Which is crazy. Which is crazy, because he's not overly aggressive. His style is not overly aggressive. He's a technical striker, but he is kind of like heavy-handed, heavy kicks, right? And I really don't know how to rate his chin because Nick Brown knocking him out was kind of weird. I don't know what that was. He knocked him out pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, I lean Nallo because I think he's more durable, but it wouldn't be shocking if Herbert won this fight, honestly. I think it's a close fight. I really do. I've seen a lot of people love Nallo, but man, like Herbert is a step up for Nallo. Like he's a good striker, man. He's a good striker. He's got good boxing. And if you want to go back to the Topuria fight, what did he, he was the closest guy to beating Topuria ever. He
hurt him bad, man. He actually had him hurt, dude. It was crazy. He's the first person to do that. So,
yeah.
The question I want to ask you about this fight is, normally when we see a guy like Nallo, of his 16 3-round fights, 14 of them ended in under 1.5 rounds, and he's never been a decision. Usually when we see a fighter like that in a fight, you're going to see a fight doesn't go at around minus 1,000, minus 600, minus 400 even. It's only minus 200. What does that tell you, dude? What does that tell you? I got a funny feeling, man, that this thing's going to go to decision. It's going to go over 1.5 rounds, and the lines are, something's wrong here. Either the over-under is way off.
A very important aspect of this fight, in my opinion, is a technical striker versus a technical striker.
Yeah.
That's where you get, if you look at Nallo and the guys he's fought, like Samuel Silva is an absolute ape. He comes forward just chucking big shots.
Yeah.
Has got no defense, no head move. You know what I'm saying? He's not a tech. So a lot of these fights where you say like Piccolotti, I just don't count it because Piccolotti is just a grappler.
Yeah.
But like a lot of these fighters he's fighting are not technical strikers like Jai Herbert. So now you put it, the thing is, Nallo is not aggressive.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
so
it's
now
so
you get,
weird.
Now you get a timid guy, not timid, but a technical striker against a technical striker. I could see why the fight will go, Yeah.
Yeah, because like I'm just used to seeing numbers that are way more juiced than this when you have a fighter like Nallo who's never been to a decision in an over 10-year MMA career.
Yeah, I mean, you know which one I would compare this one to, honestly? The Fares Ziam fight, or maybe even Ludovic Klein fight, like where two technical strikers, like Fares Ziam technical, and Herbert's technical. It went to decision. Same thing with Ludovic Klein fight, technical striker versus technical striker went to decision. So that's this kind of fight, in my opinion. There's not going to be a lot of grappling, in my opinion, here.
Nope.
Both these guys,
maybe a lot of clinching, maybe clinching, but not grappling, probably.
Yeah, I don't see anybody having like success much in the grappling, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how I see it. I think now that I think about it more, maybe GTD is the play here.
It's just, when I see, I expected to see a way bigger number. So usually when you expect to see that way bigger number, you think like, oh, maybe minus 200. But that was the same. It was the same feeling I got last week when I saw the under 1.5 rounds for Walker versus Reyes at only minus 140. I was like, oh, that's like a max bet number, but I'm not falling for that trap. I didn't play the over though, but I was just like that. Something stinks there. I bet that's going over. And that's the same thing I see with that fight.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Co-main event of the night. Great fight. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 12-4 Kyler Phillips versus 17-8-1 Charles Jourdain. And currently Jourdain is a minus 150 favorite with the comeback on Phillips at plus 134 now at minus 154 for Jourdain. So a little bit of money on Jourdain. Jourdain dropping down to 35. I think it's been working out for him, right? He's looked really good in 2 fights. But I kind of like pulled it back a little because I love Charles Jourdain. I'm going to say it straight up. I love the guy. I love his fighting style. It's fun. It's aggressive. He's just a fun fighter, right? The thing I want to put into context here is that he fought a 38-year-old and a 40-year-old, right?
Yeah.
His last 2 fights. Guys that are pretty old, especially for bantamweight, like the lower weight classes. They're just up there in age. They're going to be a lot slower than Jourdain. They're not going to have the reflexes that Jourdain has, stuff like that, right? So he looked good in those fights. Now, in the Henry fight, he did get taken down. He got his back taken in that fight, but he scrambled out pretty well. He did also hurt Victor Henry in that fight. But the thing with Kyler Phillips is, which is amazing, and I said this in my Discord. You know, Kyler Phillips has never lost a round one.
Never once, huh?
Never once. He has never once lost the fucking round one. It's incredible. And I think in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken, he has unanimously run round one, like 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 against everybody, which is incredible because he's faced really, really good guys.
Yeah, Sonny Dawn, like a bunch of guys. Yeah.
I mean, some of these guys are not slow starters, man. Like Vinicius Oliveira's coming after you. Rob Font's coming after you. You know, Yadong Song's coming after you. He's won every round one in the UFC. He's never lost a single round one in the UFC, right? And now he's facing a guy in Charles Jourdain who's, I don't want to say he's a slow starter, but he's lost a ton of round ones in the UFC. I've looked at it. I think he's lost 8 or 9. Okay, in the UFC. My thing is, Kyler Phillips is probably going to win round one here, man. Like, it just is what it is. He's going to win round one here, and I think you can get a better price on Jourdain. I really do. Phillips is also, while fresh, extremely dangerous in round one. He hurt Oliveira very bad in round one. You know, Oliveira is very tough to hurt. And I think he's going to be dangerous in round one against Jourdain. I think he could take down Jourdain. He's a much better wrestler than Charles Jourdain.
Yeah.
Especially early. And he can get him down and potentially get his back. You know, so I wouldn't be rushing to play Jourdain here at 150, even though I love the guy. I love his style. But this is not a spot I want to play him because this is the first time he's going to go up against the guy in the bantamweight division that's going to be way faster, way more athletic, way more explosive than him. It's just a fact. You know, Kyler Phillips is way more athletic, way more explosive, and faster. You know, so the thing is, if Kyler Phillips could just tame it down a little bit, just a little bit, dude, you know, don't go explosive on every single strike and every single move. This guy, to me, is a top 10 fighter in the bantamweight division. If he could just do that, but I don't know what it is. He blows his wad early, and rounds 2 and 3, he's holding on for dear life. You know, I'm torn on this one because I really believe it's going to come down to round 2. You know, Jourdain could potentially finish him late, but like he's faced guys that are marauders in round 3, like Oliveira, and they didn't finish him, you know, and I would say Oliveira hits a lot fucking harder than Charles Jourdain, you know. I don't know. I'm torn on this one. I really am torn because on one hand, there's no way I'm playing Jourdain pre because I think it's all Kyler Phillips pre because I think you're going to get a better number on Jourdain. But on the other hand, I could see Kyler Phillips absolutely melting in this fight, you know, because Jourdain's going to keep coming. And in round 3, you know, as good as Kyler Phillips is in round 1, Charles Jourdain is that good in round 3, you know? So it's like, I don't know what to do here. I really do. Maybe you can help me out here, but I'm kind of leaning Jourdain just because I feel like his finishing equity is better in round 3 than Kyler Phillips is in round 1, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Kyler Phillips has never been finished. And the problem I'm having with backing somebody like Jourdain is, you mentioned it, you know, the 2 old fighters that he's fought at bantamweight thus far. And then the thing that really bothers me, though, is that this guy's been to 8 decisions in the UFC and he's won 2 of them. You know, so if he's going to lose round 1 to Kyler, how much faith are we going to have that Charles is going to do enough to win in rounds 2 and 3? And here's the thing with a guillotine merchant. You can take them down whenever you want because they want that guillotine. So if you're smart and you can try to pass to half guard and don't let them shorten up their grip, make sure that they've got an arm in, you know, when they're trying to jump that thing, you might be able to wind up getting the top position you need to bank round 2. If you can bait this guy into going for a guillotine where you've got the takedown set up, in order to defend it, because Jourdain has never had good takedown defense. Well, he'll get back up, but you can always take this guy down, and he's just never been a great minute winner at distance striking range either, because he's so hittable. So I think Kyler might have more power. I think Kyler might have more minute winning upside. And, I think that obviously what you said about round one rings very true, because you're getting the plus money side here in Kyler, the guy that really has a lot more upside, if we're being honest with each other. He's always had that natural athletic ability and that finishing ability, so especially early in fights. So I'm leaning to the Phillips side, but I haven't finished writing this fight up. It's been a long week. It's been a long week, dude. Tax forms, don't get me started, man.
Yeah, I don't know which way to go here. I'm leaning Phillips. I'm leaning Phillips, but I feel like Jourdain might get him later. I don't know. I really don't know. Because I like Kyler Phillips a lot too, man. I think he's such a good fighter, but that gas tank is concerning. It really is. All right,
really.
Before we go on to the main event, please hit the like, subscribe to the channel, do everything you can do to blow it up. By the way, notification button. I don't talk about that too often. I should hit that notification button, that bell, so that you can know when I go live. I'm obviously going live for the Lambeau Place podcast on Friday with Timothy Troiano. Also want to give a shout out to Uncle Weezy here for coming in and breaking this down with me, so I don't be talking to the fucking wall while I'm breaking this down alone. But yeah, give him a follow, please, at Uncle Weezy. I think, Uncle Weezy, what's your YouTube channel?
Yeah, Uncle Weezy on YouTube, Uncle Weezy on Rumble, and at MMA Weezy on X.
Beautiful. Please give him a follow. A lot of stats, a lot of good stuff he has. So I always like to shout him out. And also, more than anything, a really good guy that goes a lot longer than anything else. So I appreciate you. By the way, Isaac Bulgarian says, you guys pay taxes?
He cheats at everything. This guy cheats at everything, man. Everything. Oh, my God. He was probably cheating at his weigh-ins and wrestling in high school. I mean, like, come on, Isaac.
Come on.
Come on, man.
Also, link for the free portion of the Discord is down below. And if you do want to get in the Discord, it's $25 a month. Get in there. Worth every penny. We're up. As you can see, all my track plays, 24 units on the year. So we've had some very, very good weeks back to back to back. So let's move on here. Main event of the night. It is in the welterweight division. It is the 22-9 Gilbert Burns versus the 13-2-1 Mike Malott. And currently Malott is minus 310. And the comeback on Gilbert Burns at plus 260. Uncle Weezy, take us home.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, like, where did Gilbert Burns open? I'm going to check that out right now. On Bet Online, he opened at, because it's a plus 260 now, but it was a lot bigger number than that. And, of course, my computer's not bringing it up, but it goes to
minus
show
600, you, minus 6. It opened shorter, but it got bet up to minus 600.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, like this is something where there's a lot of money coming in on the Gilbert Burns side. And you'd say, why would that happen? And I kind of looked through my stats and looked at what if Gilbert Burns gets takedowns? I mean, like, the guy's got, elite Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's a multiple time world champion. And we've seen Mike Malott show 25% takedown defense over his UFC career. So, I think that's what Gilbert's going to need to do here. He did it against Jack Della Maddalena. He's done it in other fights where if he can't get his wrestling game going, oftentimes he's going to struggle. But if he can get his wrestling game going against Mike Malott and make this, a grappling match, this fight could play out very close. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say, because with Burns, you're getting a guy that is 39. Is he 39 or 38? Let me look here. He's
39
years, 8 months, 26 days. I mean, like, he's old, and he's on a 4-fight losing streak. His last win was against the ghost of Jorge Masvidal back in 2023. It was over 3 years ago. It was 3 years and 1 week ago. So, yeah, it's really hard to back a 39-year-old dude on a 4-fight losing streak. That's why you're getting big plus money, especially because Mike is 6-1 in the UFC, and he's really only lost like 1 minute in the UFC. It was the last minute of round 3 against Neil Magny. So I see why the line is where it is, but there does appear to be a path for Burns if he grapples offensively and is able to win minutes and bank rounds with damage and duration from top position.
Well, Uncle Easy, I got some stats for you. I'm usually not the stat guy, but you gave Mike Malott way too much credit with his takedown defense at 25%. He's at 14% in the
UFC. My. Yeah, that must include the Contender Series fight then, too.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
All right. The other thing is, actually, he lost round 1 unanimously to Kevin Holland last fight. Actually.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He lost round 1. And that, if you remember, Kevin Holland was coming on, landing on him, and then he ate that nasty nut shot, the second one.
Yeah.
It was in round 1. He completely fucked it. I mean, Holland should not have fought. Like,
I know. They made him.
Yeah,
they made him.
He was literally compromised in that fight, and he fought him basically with one testicle or maybe no testicles in that fight. The thing is, like, I taped this today extensively, and I kind of don't understand the line, because here's the thing. Do we really know what Mike Malott looks like off his back against a guy like Gilbert Burns? No, because there's really no tape of him off his back other than the time he got punched and fucking destroyed by Magny at the end of the fight. There's really no tape of this guy on bottom or getting his back taken. None of it. None of it. Takedown defense. He is obliging to getting taken down. He doesn't care. Oh, take me down, right? Do you really fucking want to get taken down by Gilbert Burns now? No. He's the better grappler of these two guys, and it's not close. Like, this is Canadian grappling against fucking the best of the best grappling in Gilbert Burns. The other thing is, like, when I watch back that Michael Morales fight, and he talked about how he had concussion afterwards, and he said that Morales was like the biggest hitter he's ever faced by a lot. Like, every punch, he's like, he felt it, right? Morales landed a lot of good shots, and early on, Burns was taking them, and he threw back, and at one point against the cage, he landed a big right hand on Morales that backed him up. He backed up Morales. And then if you remember, after Morales landed a big flurry on him, Gilbert Burns got a single leg and took him down.
Yeah.
Against the cage. And we've seen how hard it is to take down Michael Morales. Like, he's a fucking monster,
It's huge. Yeah.
The thing is, like, I go back to this fight against Brady, which is meaningless, right? Brady is just a way better wrestler and grappler than Malott. Then you look at the JDM fight, man, and it's like, if he doesn't get fucking out of that position off the fence and get up and kneed, he wins that fight probably 30-27. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, he's fighting the best of the, like, not only the best, but like literally champions. That's who he's fighting.
Yeah.
And losing to. Bilal Muhammad, champion.
Yeah.
Jack Della, champion. Sean Brady, fight for the championship. And Michael Morales is right there to fight for the championship. Like, that's who he's lost to. And now he's fighting fucking Mike Malott, which, to be honest, if Kevin Holland does not get compromised to the balls, Mike Malott is losing that fight. I am 100% sure. Yeah. The way he looked in that fight where he busted his nose and everything, he did not look good in that fight. And if you look at the sequence where they grappled in round 1 and Holland got taken down and Holland reversed them and they both stood up, Malott looked tired already, man.
Yeah.
And in that fight, they got like fucking 10 minutes of breaks from nut shots and bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if Gilbert Burns grapples, this guy's going to gas. That's just how I see this fight, because we've already seen this guy. When he gets into grappling sequences, he gasses. He absolutely gasses. So I know he's 39. I get that he could be a little washed. I don't think Malott hits nowhere near as hard as JDM, nowhere near as hard as Michael Morales. He doesn't hit as hard as these guys. So I don't think he's the better grappler than guys like Bilal Muhammad or Brady, right? So then, like, why is he minus 310 then? Are we just banking on Burns getting knocked out with the first punch here? Like, I don't get it.
It's that trajectory, man. That's what it is.
It is.
The trajectory and age. And even Mike's 34. He's not young.
I think Malott is overrated, to be honest. What's his best win? What is his fucking best win? Kevin Holland compromised? That's the best win he's had.
It's Radgear Giles.
Huh?
It's Radgear Giles.
Yeah, and those are not very good wins, man. They're just not.
Yeah, so, it's not Shimon Smot risky. I could tell you that right now.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think this line's too big, honestly. I don't care if Gilbert Burns 39, if he's 40. I haven't really seen a crazy decline in him. To me, it's the level of opponents and who he's fought that have made him look a lot worse than what he is. Michael Morales, can you imagine fighting Michael Morales against Mike Malott? The bad things.
I talked to these guys at VFS, and they're like, dude, this guy, we think he's a cyborg. They talk about Morales. They train with him. He's been doing his camps there. They're like, this guy is going to kill everybody. They're like, he's the future champion. There's no doubt about it. Nobody's going to come close to beating this guy. That's what they're saying. They're saying he's going to smoke Islam. So
I kind of like Burns. I'll be honest with you. I like Burns in this fight. I'm waiting to play him. There's money on both sides. I see that there's money on the markets on both sides, so the line might not move. I'm hoping there's some Canadian money late on Malott to blow him up a little bit. I really missed the fucking 600. Like I wish I taped it and got Burns. Burns at plus 450 is an absolute gift. I don't care. Like it's just watching tape that line is wrong. Absolutely wrong. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. We've seen this guy shit the bed as a huge fucking favorite against Magny. And by the way, Magny was probably 38 at the time. I think 38, 39. So he wasn't a spring chicken when he lost to Magny. And honestly, one last thing. You can say whatever you want about Malott, but when you're up like that against a guy like Magny and have to hold on for like 20 seconds and move or do something, and the way he just fucking quit with like 20 seconds
man.
left.
Yeah.
Is this, how can you put your money on this guy again? How can you and I had him there in a parlay, and you know how heartbroken he was, minus like 20,000 in round. And he fucking hold on for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, dude.
All you gotta do is move. All you gotta do is move.
Grab him, do something.
Yeah.
But he shelled up and just gave up.
Yep.
Embarrassing. So I don't know. I think if he doesn't knock out Gilbert Burns, Mike Malott is fucked in a 5-round fight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think he can go 5 rounds, especially if there's grappling, which I listened to Gilbert Burns' interview. He said, listen, I know I'm older. But I'm going in with a smart game plan here. I know what I'm good at. I'm going to go in with a smart game plan. To me, that means he's going to wrestle in this fight. And
he's got a chance.
He's going to test Malott's anti-grappling and see how good it is, you know?
Yeah.
He's a black belt. I get it. But there's levels to black belts. So I appreciate everybody. I appreciate Uncle Weezy. 335 live viewers. Thank you to all of you. Hit the like, subscribe. I will be back on Friday. Lambeau Place Podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern with Timothy Troiano. Uncle Weezy, floor is yours. Tell them what you have going. I know you have a bunch of content.
Yeah, I'm always doing subscriber-only content for my Odds Shopper people. I'm going live at 9:15 tonight to do a full card breakdown. I'm going live at 3:15 tomorrow to do a prop betting show. But I'm going to also go live for free on YouTube on Thursday night to give out a greasy 4-leg parlay and do a quick full card breakdown. And if you want access to my stats, my analytics, my fight write-ups, my Discord, oddshopper.com. You can find Uncle Weezy under the MMA boxing handicappers there. Best way to support my work. Best way to support Narcocops. We're fellow Odds Shopper people, Narcocop and I. So, yeah, check out oddshopper.com. Phenomenal website, not just to find good MMA experts, but any sport that you're looking to bet on, they've got tools for it. So yeah, that's the best way.
I use their prop tools are fucking amazing for other sports.
Incredible.
Yeah, they have great stuff there. And honestly, the people out there just, I love all. I've been there since like day one with their tails. Like I know I used to do content for them way before they ever had tails and stuff. So I know a lot of the guys, but super, super good guys there. And yeah, just the whole platform is really, really good. They don't take bettors that are just putting fucking parlays together and bullshit and stuff like that and faking stuff. But I appreciate Uncle Weezy for coming on. Thank you very much. We went fucking 45 minutes over. F me.
It is what it is.
I appreciate you again. Have a great week. Good luck with your taxes. Hopefully Uncle Sam doesn't come knock like they might, to both of us. But we're going to get our taxes on point. We're going to pay our taxes like good American citizens.
Yes.
And we're going to move on, right? We're going to move on with life because life is good out here in America. So I appreciate everybody. Good luck this weekend, and let's cash these tickets for UFC Winnipeg.